everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up today, Dan, the world is opening. People are going back to restaurants and bars and to church.
Yeah.
And so just as the restaurants and bars aren't as full as they used to be, what's going to happen with church? That's our question. We have some predictions. We're sitting in the role of prophets today.
Well, and
we predicting.
We do have some things to go by, because there have been some churches that have been defying the orders and staying open anyway, and it's gone just real good for them. So I don't foresee any problems coming our way. Seems impossible.
Of course not. Yeah. So we'll be talking about that on the second half of the show. Coming up first, though, Dan.
Yeah.
I have a non-COVID story, Dan.
A miracle.
I'm leading with it.
A miracle.
People, you don't know how hard it was. Actually, it's getting a little bit easier to find these stories now.
Yeah.
But down in a town called Wiley, Texas, I'm going to say, is how you would say that. Wiley.
Sure, yeah.
It's kind of in the DFW sort of metroplex, whatever.
Yes.
Somewhere in that area.
Somewhere.
That's my sense of it. I didn't really look
feel
too
like
closely.
most of Texas is in the Dallas-Fort Worth metroplex. It's just sprawl as far as you can get.
Yeah, it is amazing. Like, it is honestly, truly amazing. Anywho, their mayor, who is described in this article that I found as a magician, a minister, and a mayor.
Wow. It's a triple M. He's got all of them. That's the dream, you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys wanted to be as kids, but I'm pretty sure we all wanted to be magician, minister, mayor. It just seemed impossible, and this man has done it. So kudos to him.
Well, one of his city council members, a man by the name of Jeff Forrester, and the mayor's name is Eric Hogue, should anybody be wondering. He emails him, and he says, "Mayor, over the past 5 weeks, members of Youth with a Mission have been walking through Wiley and praying over our city and citizens. I believe this is a great testament to the youth in our city and their devotion to God. With your permission, I would like to ask a couple of the young men to come to our next meeting and lead us in prayer before. Let me know your thoughts, and I will arrange to have them come. Jeff." Oh, okay. Youth with a mission. All right.
Yeah.
Just walking around praying.
What a good thing for young people to be doing. What productive work.
Yeah. And so the mayor responds. He says, "Hey, Jeff, sounds good. I would like that. All I ask is that those leading the public prayer be young men. Here's why I make that request. As a preacher for the Cottonwood Church of Christ, we take the two verses below literally." And he puts them in here. 1 Corinthians 14:34-35. Let your women be silent, or keep silence in the churches, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home, for it is a shame for women to speak in the church. And then
That's one of those ones where, like, when Christians start to, like, I always like when I hear about a church that follows that, even though I think it's horrific and stupid.
Right.
Because at least that's one more that they're not being hypocrites about.
Right.
So there you go, Mayor.
So there's
You're
that
winning points with me.
Yeah. Then 1 Timothy 2:11-12. Let the women learn in silence with all subjection.
Yeah.
But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. And so the mayor says, so I have always requested that a man lead the invocation. I understand not everyone may agree with me, but I can't go against my conscience, he says. But I would love to have the group come and visit with them and then let a couple of guys lead a prayer.
Yeah, just don't let any of those lady youth come in and pray. Ruin everybody's day.
Well, first of all, here's the deal. Does he understand the word literally? Because he starts off and says that we take these two verses below literally. And the verses are talking about church.
Yeah.
And women teaching. Everything that's literal about these says absolutely nothing about a prayer at a city council meeting. Right.
I think he's also looking at the spirit of the law, which is just women shut up no matter what. There's the letter of the law, but if you're really going to hold to the word of God, shut the hell up, ladies.
Then don't talk about literalness, right?
Right. You're right.
But anyway, so this is all leaked out. And
I want to know who leaked it.
Oh, I know.
What?
Know.
Oh, okay. Who leaked it?
Oh, no, I know.
I thought you were saying you knew. Know. It's got to be somebody's wife, right? One or the other of them.
I would assume. My guess is Jeff Forrester, the city council member. My guess is he thought that was kind of weird, right? And he probably laughed and chuckled about it. And you're probably right. But I mean, this is like, well, here's the deal. WileyTexas.gov. It would have been easy. This is public record. They were using, both of them were using their official government email. So, I mean, if somebody wanted to just request them, I suppose they could probably get their hands on them. But
at
somehow
this point,
it was leaked out.
If you're not doing, if you've got a pastor or a priest or a minister of some sort in an official position in your local government, somebody needs to be doing FAFSA requests of all of their documents at all times for all reasons, because you're gonna stumble on shit like this all the damn time.
Again, I don't know how it came out, but it's really, really remarkable. I mean, first of all, we both clearly object to the idea of there being a prayer at the beginning of the meeting, and then this douche
at all,
right? This absolute douchebag of a mayor, who also, I guess, because of COVID, their May election was postponed to November. Because of the pandemic. So the guy's getting some extra time in office, and I guess people are kind of pissed about that too. So
I love it. Here's the other thing that I love. I love the idea that, because we talk all the time about how in this country it is unconstitutional. If you're going, at very least, if you're going to allow anyone to give a prayer, you kind of have to allow everyone to be able to give that prayer, and that's been the basis of many lawsuits and whatever. But does it say anything about the gender of the person? Because I don't know. I think there may be something beautiful in we'll allow anyone to pray, but you have to go by the letter of your own law. You have to. If we can find something in we get to police your religion, and and you have to obey your religion exactly. There'd be something great about that. Anyway, I'm going to take us to. I wanted to visit some old friends. We've done a lot of COVID stuff for a while, and I wanted to visit some old friends. So I thought we'd visit the Green family, owners of Hobby Lobby, who our frequent listeners will remember were the founders of the Bible Museum.
Oh, the beautiful Bible Museum.
Washington, D.C.
Oh, my favorite of all the D.C. museums. It's just gorgeous. Beautiful.
I don't believe you, but I do want to go to it.
How dare you?
I actually want to. I mean, they've got a lot of amazing antiquities. They went on a spending spree.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the spree was so wildly fast and furious and or haphazard and clumsy that they ended up getting themselves into some trouble. We talked about how they had a whole bunch of Dead Sea Scrolls that ended up being forgeries, and a bunch of their stuff was bought on the black market that probably funded ISIS because it was stolen. There was at least a couple. Just last month, we learned. We didn't even talk about this. We're not talking about all of the things that happened, but yeah, last month apparently there were some biblical fragments of ancient papyrus that apparently were stolen from Oxford University.
Oh God!
And now we can add yet another item to the list, which is that they have a tablet. Back that's in like ancient. I think it's cuneiform. It's from the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Oh yeah.
And they bought it at auction for $1.6 million. This little, it looks like a little terracotta chunk with a whole bunch of writing on it. So 1.6 million. That's no small shakes. Turns out that was stolen as well.
Oh, God.
So. So now there's a complaint with the from the U.S. Justice Department because apparently the rightful owner is the nation of Iraq. So,
but
it's written in Akkadian. It's not written in cuneiform.
Yeah.
It's written in Akkadian.
So
interesting.
What do they want with the Epic of Gilgamesh?
Isn't that interesting? Because the Epic of Gilgamesh predates the Bible by a long shot.
Yeah, and sort of undermines the story of the flood and as being a biblical story, right? Like,
yeah, it predates.
Sorry,
it's got a very parallel.
Yeah,
it's got a parallel flood story. It's got a Garden of Eden story. And it's largely believed by historians that these stories were just sort of adapted and changed from the Akkadians whoever originally had it to fit the Jews of ancient of the ancient Middle East.
Well, coming up with like a whole mythology, like all these like foundational stories, it's hard.
Well, and why make it up from whole cloth when you can borrow
perfectly good origin stories?
Yeah. And, it's not like they didn't have the internet back then. Nobody's going to fact check you. Nobody's going to be like, you stole that from somebody else. Boo.
Excuse me, but
Lame.
I just learned about the Epic of Gilgamesh. Anyway.
Yeah, so there you go. Just as the story of Noah was stolen from Gilgamesh, so was the Gilgamesh stone stolen. And now the Green family has to give up, probably will have to give up yet another precious artifact.
Oh my God. I hope they learned their lesson.
I'm just surprised considering how into hobbies they are that they haven't hodgepodged all of their things. Just do just like done a fun or do a fun like wallpaper border around them or something. Just
like some good scrapbooking. Yeah.
Why not? That's what it should be.
Yeah.
Don't just display it in a display case.
Shears and cut out
right?
some. Yeah. Give all those scrolls a nice little clamshell sort of cut around. It just looks so much better, and then mount it on some like different colored construction paper that's sort of a little bit larger and then a little bit larger.
Do you know how much better an ancient marble carving is if it's got a little toll painting on it? I'm just saying. It's pretty.
It is pretty. Oh, all right. Well, Dan.
Yeah.
This is a story that has to do with Roe versus Wade, right?
Uh-oh.
For
our international listeners, even you guys already still know what Roe v. Wade is.
But of course, this is a landmark Supreme Court case that established a woman's right to an abortion in the United States.
Yeah.
And ever since then, there have been numerous states that have been trying to get that,
To
to
chip
undermine
away
it
at that
in
right.
every way, shape, or form, and
Yeah,
whatnot.
absolutely.
Well, the Roe versus Wade, and I did not know this, was like John Doe, right? It was just kind of this
Yeah.
generic court-given name to a real person by the name of Norma McCorvey, but she's known in all in the court case as Jane Roe.
Right.
And she was the plaintiff, right? Who she was 22 years old, got pregnant, and she she apparently had a difficult childhood, suffering sexual abuse from a family member. She was married at 16, but had left her husband. She had addiction issues. She already had 2 children by the age of 22 and had placed them up for adoption. And she was essentially just desperate for an abortion, a safe and legal abortion, right?
Yeah, she didn't need any more children to feed or take care of. Her life was hard enough.
Right. However, Texas, which is where she lived, she could not get that abortion. So anyway, so she challenged the state laws, and her case went to the Supreme Court, and eventually causing abortion to be legalized across the United States. And she, at some point, and I'm not entirely clear on this, she came out from behind the pseudonym, right?
Right.
And identified herself to the public. And then in the 90s, she did an about face on the topic of abortion, right? She said that she had found religion. She ended the romantic, or she ended her relationship with her girlfriend, and became a vocal anti-abortion crusader. And there's a documentary that's actually coming out, maybe already have come out by the time the show posts. It's going to be on, I guess, FX. But in the film, she is on camera, essentially delivering a confession that she was paid to change her stance and to become an outspoken anti-abortion activist and
of course
voice,
she was.
right? And it turns out that these evangelical leaders, they cobbled together the number that's mentioned here is at least $456,000 in benevolent gifts, right? From the anti-abortion movement in exchange for her conversion, right?
Oh, how funny.
So in the documentary, she says, I was the big fish. I think it was a mutual thing. I took their money and they put me out in front of the camera and they told me what to say. It was all an act. I did it well. I'm a good actress. Of course, I'm not acting now, she says. And now evangelical leaders are, I guess a couple were actually interviewed for the documentary. There's one evangelical leader who sort of, he's sort of willing to say, yeah, he says, what does it profit in the end if he should gain the whole world and lose his soul, right? That quotes Jesus. And he says, when you do what we did to Norma, you lose your soul. And
wait, one of them actually had ethics, even enough ethics to admit to wrongdoing?
Well,
that's amazing.
I don't know if he was involved in it, and so he, as a member of like the evangelical community, is like, yeah, this was fucked up, right? But then you have other ones that are apparently being very defensive, and it's going to be I'm going to have to seek this out because I want to see this.
Here's the thing that drives me crazy about this.
What's that?
Is that every time you have someone, some woman accuses some right-wing nut job like Brett Kavanaugh of having actually abused them or whatever, the right comes out and they yell about, this person was paid by George Soros to do this, or this person was paid by whatever.
Right.
It turns out, you guys are the ones that do that. We're not the side that does that. That's you guys.
That's why they suspect it, right? Like,
right.
Of course, it's in their playbooks. They're like, well, that must be what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
We would do that. Why wouldn't you do that? Of course you would do that.
But it's even though you know the level of hypocrisy on the right, on the religious right, this is shocking to me. Like this is some dirty shit.
Yeah, it's really ugly. However, I do want to put one message out into the world, and that is that I am equally for sale. I will cost a lot more than $400,000. But if you want prominent atheist podcaster conversion story, let's talk. Let's talk figures. Let's
What's
talk money.
What's the sum, Dan? What is it?
Oh, no. I'm not going to put that out onto the airwaves. We're that's a negotiation in process. We're gonna have to work on that, but I'm open to it. What I'm saying is, I'm putting it out there. I'm open to it. You'll shock the world.
Yeah,
I'll go on book tour.
We won't. What will we do with this audio, though, Dan?
Oh no, we'll expunge this. This will be gone.
You shouldn't have said it, Dan. Should have said
there.
it. Now the deal's all ruined.
Oh no, they'll still. They don't care. This is a post-reality world. They don't care about that.
All right.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk about a TV station. Now there's a company called God TV, which is an international evangelical enterprise. That just earlier this year, a couple months ago, made a huge breakthrough deal. They got a channel on one of the major cable companies in Israel.
Oh,
now this is a Christian TV station. Now, in terms of like getting the authorization to do this. Here's the thing about Israel. Their government is technically secular. They allow for freedom of religion in Israel. But Jews do not like to have people try to convert them. There's a history in this world of that going a bit askew. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's not always great. And so I think part of how they got, how God TV got got the okay to go ahead and start broadcasting was that they were saying, we are broadcasting to Christians here in Israel.
Okay.
Well, then, but here's the thing. Most of the Christians in Israel speak Arabic. They don't speak Hebrew. But this was a Hebrew language station.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So what's going on there? Well, Ward Simpson, who's the CEO of God TV, had released a video of himself saying that this was a big miracle that they got this channel in Israel because, quote, God has supernaturally opened the door for us to take the gospel of Jesus into the homes and lives and hearts of his Jewish people. Well, guess what? That's not what you're supposed to be doing. That's not what you said you were doing in your filings, and now you're in trouble. That video has since been taken down, but now they are under investigation just a couple months into their having, they're actually starting this thing. Because he said, quote, they'll watch secretly, they'll watch quietly. God is restoring his people. God is removing the blindness from their eyes. So not remotely offensive. It's always just fine. No, the people it's a little touchy. It's a little bit of a touchy subject. And now they are under investigation and in trouble. They have promised that they will abide by any regulations and that they're going to be good and nice from now on. And they said that they're not trying. They're trying. So here's the really funny thing. They were talking about how they're trying to target Jews and convince them that Jesus is the Messiah. But they were like, hey, you can still be a Jew and think that Jesus is the Messiah, which, no, you can't. There's a word for that. It's Christian. I love this concept of the Messianic Jews, which also call themselves Jews for Jesus. Because, you're just Christians who like Stars of David. That's all you are. I don't know why you don't realize that. So anyway, they're in trouble. We'll see if they get to keep making their dumb TV that of course no Jews are going to be watching. Why would anybody who's not Christian watch Christian drivel TV? It's the worst TV available. Why would you even bother?
Yeah, I don't know. We should start our own channel. Should grab that that part of the spectrum, Dan.
Yeah, man, we'll get in there and we'll preach the good word of whatever we preach to the Israelites.
All right, Dan. The LDS Church. Dan,
I know them.
I know. The stock market drop, Dan.
Yeah,
hit them hard. They've lost a lot of money. They're poor.
It hit
they're downright
everybody
poor,
hard.
Dan. They lost.
they're poor.
They lost. What was it? About 21% of the value of their stock holdings in the first quarter of 2020. This is the Ensign Peak Advisors, which is their investment arm.
Let us remind our listeners that the whistleblowers that came out, those two brothers that came out to talk about Ensign Peak Advisors, said that they had holdings in excess of $100 billion.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the church, I guess they must be being slightly more. I guess they had to do some filings or whatnot.
Right.
And so there's definitely not 100 billion in what they're reporting. But losing 21% still did mean that they lost $8.1 billion. So what they're reporting shows a value of 29.7 billion is where it's at currently.
That's probably just their stock holdings in one stock market. I'm guessing that they've got I'm guessing that 100 billion isn't out of thin air and that they've got other.
Yeah. I'm sure there's other things. But here's a nice little breakdown of what they've got and what it was worth and what it's not, or what it's worth now. I thought some of these names people might be interested in knowing. I remember when we first talked about this, we talked about them being the largest single stockholder of Apple, right? Period.
Oh, right.
Well, their next largest stock holding is Microsoft, followed by Google, followed by Amazon. And then they've got some JP Morgan, Chase and Company, United Health Group. They own $471 million in stock there.
Sure.
Merck, everybody, Merck. Walt Disney, $384 million in holdings. I guess this was the pre-drop amount. Disney's only down. That's $250 million now. That's too bad.
Oh.
O'Reilly. Hey, everybody. O'Reilly Automotive. You've seen their ads.
The auto parts store. Sure.
Yeah. They now only have $206 million of O'Reilly.
Holy crap.
I know.
O'Reilly's worth $206 million? I'm surprised to learn that they are worth even that much, but okay, fine.
They're probably, it's probably a little bit more than just the shops. But even then, Who knows?
Yeah.
They've got some Bank of America, Union Pacific, the railroad company, right? Adobe. I mean, they're just, Dan, it's
How
unreal.
much? Wait, so what percent did you say that they lost in quarter one?
21%. The whole of the Dow Jones Industrial Average declined 23% over the same period.
So they're beating the market. They're still beating the market.
Beating the market. Of course they are.
They're clever.
They apparently they just dumped a ton of I think it was ExxonMobil, and now they're getting into Zoom, Video Communications Inc.
Right.
They're getting into Grubhub, and you know what, guys? Like, if the LDS Church is doing it, it's probably not a bad idea.
Right? Exactly.
Apparently, they acquired 16,000 shares in a company called 10X Genomics, which manufactures tests being used to determine who has or has had COVID-19.
Right.
They know where the money's going to be.
Yeah.
They sold a bunch of their Marriott hotel stock.
Oh yeah, which is funny because that's their own boy. That's the Marriotts are Mormons.
Yeah, but they did while they took it out of Marriott International, which is the hotel arm.
Yeah,
they did invest more. They increased their stake by 13% in Marriott Vacations Worldwide because they think that maybe like the hotel sector is going to be down, but maybe this, like, I think that's probably like a timeshare thing. That could possibly go up because people are going to be taking different kinds of vacations.
Well, and ownership is a long-term thing, whereas just staying at a hotel is a short-term thing. I'm guessing they'll get back into a lot of those industries once.
Sure.
But it's blown over.
But this made me think about something, Dan. This whole like LDS Church losing a lot of stock value, right?
Sure.
Losing some riches. It seems like a good maybe they can like spin it that they're good shepherds of the Lord's assets, right?
Sure.
When the market's going up and they're making, upwards of $100 billion.
Right.
But what about when the market's down and they're literally losing God's money?
Well,
right?
Sure. Except that I think, knowing Mormons the way I do, the fact that they're doing better than the Dow says to me that the Mormons will be like, see, everybody lost money, but we lost less because the Lord blessed us, and that's great.
As if I were a believer, I think it would just highlight for me, right, the reason why it's a bad idea to gamble, like we were talking about. In the diary, I think actually, that the stock market's gambling. They're literally gambling with the Lord's money, and it's just widely accepted as like what rich people do and wealthy organizations do.
Yeah,
and obviously, if you have enough and you have the resources and the right people, running the whole thing, you'll beat the market. But they're still down.
Yeah.
$8.1 billion.
Yeah, probably more than that. Although chances are they've got some side gig somewhere where they're making money off of this whole thing.
There's the
guarantee they're
profiteering hedge fund.
Yeah. They've got stock in the lab in Wuhan that created the virus or something.
I'm sure.
Anyway, there's somebody with their pinky to their mouth going, $100 billion or we release the next virus. All right. Well, I'm going to close on my only coronavirus story of the day, which is one Kenneth P. Hammonstein.
That's fake.
A.k.a. Ken Ham.
No.
The creationist, the big daddy of Answers in Genesis, that beautiful, beautiful organization that promises so many answers and delivers on exactly 0 of them, and also owner of the Ark Encounter in Kentucky. That huge, enormous boat that could never possibly have happened. And would not float if you. I mean, it might float. It would. That thing would break apart in minutes if you actually tried to put it on the water. Anywho, they've got a problem. They've got a giant boat sitting in the middle of a landlocked state, and a coronavirus outbreak happening, and they have to decide when they're going to reopen. Now, I've been inside of this beast. I have looked up at its giant pillars. It's an impressive structure. Mm-hmm. It is an impressive structure. It is just a big, open, festering. Look, if the thing gets crowded, everybody is going to die of coronavirus. That's just a fact. So you would think that they would want to be very, very careful about allowing people in. Well, they've picked a date. They're going to reopen on June 8th. That's coming up. It's late May now, and there are a lot of questions because in this country, a lot of ding-dongs don't want to wear masks. It's just far too onerous a problem for people who don't believe that the virus is real anyway. So the question came, and most of those ding-dongs, I should point out, or a significant portion of those ding-dongs, are the same types of people who would go to the Ark Encounter. Let's just put it that way. So the question is, do they require masks? Well, Ken Ham released a video to talk about it, and he was very clear that the state wants us to tell you that it's highly recommended that you wear masks, but it's not required. And also he hopes very much that the mask wearers and not mask wearers will be very respectful of each other.
Oh God.
Oh man. It's,
and that's getting harder and harder. Right.
I don't know if this is coinciding exactly. I don't know if this is just a coincidence, but also Ken Ham has released they've released the pricing for lifetime memberships to the Ark Encounter, which seems like a better and better deal when you consider that he's going to be killing off a whole bunch of the people that come to his parks. Sign up for the lifetime thing. It's a really good deal. If you die tomorrow, we get our money.
No kidding. Well,
yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I would definitely not go to that. I mean, most of our listeners will choose not to go to that anyway, but wait until the pandemics really died down. But wait until we got herd immunity before you go anywhere near that. I think Darwin is trying to get his revenge. I think that's what's happening. Anyway, if you guys have anything you'd like to say about this or any of our stories, please write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Click like.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in. Also find us on Twitter @TGIAtheist. And stick around. There's more show coming. Hey, Dan.
Hey.
We've had kind of a theme lately with our audio clips that we've been playing.
Have we?
Yeah, we have. And this one fits right into it. We've also played, one of his before too in this whole thing. And that's Prophet Mark Taylor was wrong.
Yes.
His prediction, his profiting was wrong.
How? How is that possible?
It's not possible.
The Lord told him certain things.
Yeah. But somehow he's living his own life, and while his life is proof that prophets don't exist, he somehow doesn't see it, which I think is amazing. He rationalizes it all away.
he's really good at it, and this is this is an amazing thing. He's talking about a prophecy that he made before the midterm elections here in these United States a couple years ago, and he's talking about how that went for him.
I prophesied there was going to be a red tsunami in the midterms, and I got hammered because we lost the House. We didn't lose the House, Francine. Most of those people in the House are not supposed to be there. They were after the Senate. Q even confirmed the Senate. We picked up 6 red governorships, which are huge. Why was that huge? We're seeing it now because people are, when I said that, like, oh, that's 6 governorships, big deal. No, it is a big deal now. Now you're seeing how big of a deal having a red governor is right now, especially right now in these tyrannical, with what's going on, these tyrannical governors. But, we did not lose the House. I believe they allowed it to happen. So again, to let people see and experience who these Democrats were, how bad they really were, so that people could experience for themselves so that they will never be able to get back into office again. Most of the people in there right now are not supposed to be there because their districts, they stole the election.
Right.
We know that. We and even now, Trump even confirmed this. I think it was about a week ago. He was in a press conference. They were talking about electoral voter fraud, and he said, "You're going to find out." I was like, yes, thank you. Finally, release the numbers here, man.
Amen.
Who's supposed to be in office and who's not?
Exactly.
Get them out. Get them out.
Get them out.
Get him out, Frank. Get him out.
I've got news for these people, but
it's just they're so smart. That's the thing. It's the genius of them, where not only I love that he has 2 stories that he's telling himself about this. We didn't lose the House; they stole it. They cheated in the election. So that's
God clearly didn't see that coming.
God,
Right.
How is he supposed to predict that?
Such good cheaters. They even fooled God.
They fooled God with their cheating. So that's one story. Solid, pretty much solid. You can't argue with that. The second story is that they allowed it to happen so that everybody would see how shitty these Democrats really are. Which doesn't one of those stories have to undercut the other one of those stories? I don't know. Maybe I'm not seeing the full picture. Only God will show you the full picture. So there you go. Thanks, firefighter prophet. I'm so glad he's around. He's helping all of us. Hey, we had some folks write into us. This is from Tim, who wanted to talk about something that's very near and dear to our hearts, I think. Do you remember, Frank, that we talked about the Mormon Church? Their current prophet has been making some sweeping changes about the church, and one of the things that they did was decide that they weren't going to do their giant, ridiculous spectacle pageants anymore.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? How they were going to stop doing all...
It's
all
like one of the
this-
things that makes me a little sad.
Because it's so stupid. It's amazing. All of these, middle-aged white dudes dressed in racist Lamanite, in Native American costumes, whatever. It's amazing. Anywho, so this year was to be the last year of the Hill Cumorah pageant in upstate New York. Well, Tim has some news for us. Hey, Frank and Dan, longtime fan and supporter from Western New York here. Just wanted to alert you to a miraculous event that was recently announced. In spite of the LDS Church trying to stamp out excess pageants, our local Hill Cumorah pageant will occur in 2021 after all. Despite the previous announcement that it was done in 2020, the pandemic, that was apparently not anticipated by the prophets, seers, and revelators, hey, shut up, they're doing their best, has stayed the execution for a year. Hallelujah. He says, a high school buddy of mine had a family store just north of the Hill, and the event back in the 80s and 90s was always a nice bonus for them, with renting parking lot space for Mormons selling ridiculous trinkets. They also saw a small bump in beer sales for some reason.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's really funny. It was a bigger deal back then, including a big spike when Donny Osmond was in the cast. Oh, I didn't know Donny did the Hill Cumorah pageant. That's so
Of course he
sad
did.
for everybody. It's like if you want to know where you are on the list of celebrities, I don't know. Have you done a pageant recently? Then you're not high. Anyway, but I think we locals in the Palmyra area will barely notice it ending since it's been in a long, slow decline. I'd like to think this is symbolic of the overall decline of organized religion. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, I like to think that too. That would be nice. And it probably is. So there you go. Pageantry. Man, they have like fire effects. They got pyro going on. They got the works up there.
Have you seen it?
I've only seen the Manti pageant, which is the one here in Utah.
Yeah.
But I want to go to it. I might make an effort. I might try to get myself to it next year.
2021? Yeah, we should just set that as a goal.
Yeah.
Just do it.
We might have to go see it. And anyone in or around that area is welcome to join, and we'll all we'll boost somebody's beer sales before we go. Ashley writes into us, "Hey, Arkansas native here. Listening to your latest episode and wanted to let you guys know that it is actually true that the town of Eureka Springs is known as being a gay-friendly place. It is touted as the most liberal town in the state, except perhaps the Fayetteville area. Of course, with it being Arkansas, take that as you may, the culture here is so saturated with religion that even our liberals and LGBTQ plus people are most often Christians of the cafeteria variety. It is also known as a touristy town, so it makes sense that they have attractions there, including the quote play you guys watched. Yeah, that is a weird place, man. I love it. We heard from multiple people in the area that it is quite gay friendly. What a weird. I mean, Jesus, that ugly, bad, giant statue of Jesus looking down from the mountain at the town. It's a paradox. It's a delightful little Arkansan paradox. There you go. Oh, well, do we have anybody to thank?
We do, Dan. We have 3 new teachers. Let's see. These are donors. These are people who are supporting the show. They went to Patreon. Through our website, thankgodimatheist.com. Clicked on the support tab and went to Patreon.
You don't have to, but that's the easiest way.
This is a great way of getting there. Yeah. It takes you right to our page that way. And so we have 3 new teachers. We have Charlotte, Michelle, and Joshua, who is 1 penny shy of supporting at the priest level. And he sent a message saying that he just didn't want the responsibilities.
Come on, you know what? Fuck you. You're a priest. We're making you a priest anyway. You can't play us like that. This isn't a game, Joshua.
And then we have a new priest, or I guess priestess, Stephanie.
You guys are so great.
That's really awesome. And then, as always, we have our Lord and Savior to thank. And he actually also messaged us on Patreon saying that he was the Davis. He read an email like a week or 2 ago. And he said, I am the Davis.
The very Davis.
And so, of course, we have him to thank as well. And I kind of screwed up my little lead into that. Our Lord and Savior, Davis!
Thank you to all of our patrons. You really are. It's amazing that anybody's giving right now because everybody's struggling. But thank you so much. It's keeping us going, and we hope that we're keeping you guys going. So thanks to everybody. And let's move along.
So Dan,
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you been out in the world lately? Have you driven your car and seen the more traffic that's out there and whatnot?
Yeah, I've been out. I went, I masked up and went to the Costco yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
No, that's one of the better places to
I
go.
know.
At
That
least
is
everybody has to be masked there.
I still haven't been to Costco.
Uh-oh.
I've limited my trips to the grocery store and essentially the liquor store.
No, Costco's a place of all the places that I've been to. That's the place where I feel the most safe.
Huh. That's interesting.
Everybody's.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we went to a major national hardware store type place, home improvement store.
Yes.
Did not feel safe there.
No,
Did not at
No.
all. It's the one that's not Home Depot.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It did not feel safe. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the world. Anyway, but yeah,
go
so
ahead.
the world is opening up, and
Yeah.
that means people also, they want to be getting back to their lives, Dan.
Yeah, they
and
don't.
that
They don't just
includes-
want to go to the store.
No,
There's other places in the world that they want to go as well.
there's church. They
Yeah.
gotta- how will the Lord knows? How will the Lord know that they still believe in Him?
Yeah. It's very funny because there's two sides to this coin. Nobody actually wants to go back to the church part of church. Church sucks. I think we can agree almost universally. You and I used to go to churches with each other, and it got so bad you just refused to go. So
Yeah, it's awful.
church in general is just awful, but there's all of this. There's socializing. There's a bunch of elements to it. There's the fact that it makes you feel pious and good about yourself and all sorts of things like that. So there are people want to get back to their church. Well, it seems to me, so a lot of churches are opening up or planning to open up. And sort of the interesting one to watch is the Mormon Church, our LDS Church, because they're the ones who theoretically are working the hardest. They've been so prudent. They closed down their entire worldwide.
Yeah.
All of their churches closed down, which was a big, bold step. They were unequivocal about it. They were just like, and stop. Right at mid-March, they just said, we're just closed now, and we'll tell you when we're ready to open. Well, the word has gone out. They're starting to, they've put together a plan for reopening.
Oh,
and it's probably too soon, and it's probably, but I mean, they're doing the whole thing where, if you're allowed to, you can only have under 100 people in any ward house at any time, and they've got all these plans, and they're heavily recommending masks, though they know that a whole bunch of their people will refuse because it's un-American or whatever.
Unreal.
But it is funny because, while the LDS Church is not hurting for money, despite your story earlier, a lot of churches are hurting for money. And what I wanted to do was speculate on what a couple months of not having to go to church what effect that might have on the church-going populace.
Well, here's the deal. Like, I wish that maybe they'd had like a month or two longer, right? I mean, it was definitely enough time to like break habits and form new habits. Like, I definitely feel that in my own life, right?
Sure.
And so like, but was it enough time to really explore what Sunday can be like without going to church, right? I mean, they definitely got to
Right.
experience it. And a lot of them were doing their own little churchy, home churchy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I hope that the people who were going strictly for, it's where their social life is, that maybe they found new things to do, during the week, or maybe because their social life was so disrupted anyway, that they maybe don't feel a need for that source anymore. I don't know. I would hope.
Yeah, it is interesting. The Mormon Church is fascinating because they have so many means in place to it's very self-policing. So if you don't show up to Mormon Church when you normally would have shown up for Mormon Church, they call you. Somebody's calling you. And it's like, it's not like you better come to church. It's like, is everything okay? We noticed you weren't in church today and we're concerned about you.
Yeah, but now they have like the perfect answer, right?
Right.
These people who are now like even maybe they were on the fence a little and whatever, and now they're kind of getting off that fence a little bit on the getting out of church side of things. Well, now they can be like, we know that the church is saying that everything's going to be safe and it's time to come back. We're just going to play it safe. Right?
Well, and here's the other thing. The word that went out from the church to the local leaders was, don't encourage people to come if they, make sure that they feel safe and comfortable staying home, because they're nice. They are trying to look out for immunocompromised people. They're telling people to stay home if they're over 65, which is sad because a lot of those people, like, it's their only socialization. So that's kind of sad,
true.
but it's keeping them safe. So, I mean, they're being prudent on that. But to your point, that gives a perfect out for anybody. People can just say, I'm sorry, I just don't feel safe yet. And in their minds could be thinking, I'm just not ready to stop exploring what life is like without these 2 hours of horrible boredom that you've inflicted on me for the last all of my life.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Other churches have opened, and of course, the other thing that's happening around this country, and probably will continue to happen around the world, we've seen it in Russia, we've seen it in a bunch of other places, is that churches reopen early, and in their rush to sort of show how great they are, they become vectors, and people like, I read about one church in, where was it? In Georgia. There was just one little church. They closed 2 weeks after reopening, after dozens of people contracted the virus and a few people died.
Yeah.
I read about there was a pastor in Africa that was doing a bunch of laying on of hands.
Oh no.
And then, to heal people, to protect people from the virus. And then a couple weeks later, he died of the virus, which means that all of those people are now in a bit of a panic.
Yeah.
And it does make me wonder if people might actually question some things. Like, fuck, why isn't God protecting us from this? We're doing our job. We're going to church. We're the ones who are actually, doing what we're supposed to be doing. We're not doing what the man tells us to do. We're not doing what the scientists tell us to do. That's our enemy. We're doing what the Lord tells us to do, and we're dying.
I think you double down, don't you?
I think some of them do.
I think
some
it's
of
like
them
we
definitely
haven't,
double down.
I haven't been. My faith is not strong enough. This is a test of my faith. How can I back off now? Right.
Right.
I
have
can't
to
let
wear
something
even
like
less
this scare
masks.
me away. Yeah. Yeah. I have to do even more laying on of hands.
Right.
I
Yeah.
have to do sneezing on the
happen a
hands
lot.
than laying on the hands.
I think there will be plenty of people who do that, but I also think that there's a contingency of people who are going to look at all of this and go, I need to do some reevaluation.
Yeah.
I wonder if I have any time for that. Oh, yep, I do. Let me just check, and my calendar's pretty open.
Yeah.
Let's just reconsider some things.
I think it's the social Mormons. I think if we're going to just talk about the Mormons again, like those are the ones that a good chunk of them are lost.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and in any church, I think it would probably work similarly, right? Where it's just like, I thought this was more important to me, and now there's this distance of, 10 weeks and this kind of scary thing out in the world. Yeah, I don't know. Let's not do this anymore. It just seems prudent,
I don't think I need this.
Yeah.
I don't think this is
think it'll
useful.
happen.
We'll see.
I
I wish we could have good stats on that. I doubt that we will, but it'd be nice if we could just see what happened. So for now, I'm content to just dream. I'm just gonna, in my mind, people are wising up. People are noticing. Oh shit, my life's actually better without this church.
Right.
Well, kids, that's it for today's show. But I do want to, Frank, we needed to stop for a moment because we're not saying goodbye, but we are releasing from duty someone who has been working tirelessly with us for years.
Yeah.
And she, so Mackenzie, who has built our little Facebook page from almost nothing to tens of thousands of likes, we are releasing her with a vote of thanks in the Mormon terminology. So if you'll all please just signify, if you can join us in that thanks, please signify by raising your right hand now. We'll just assume that was like thousands and
That was
thousands
like
of people
perfect, Dan.
chiming in with their thanks. So thanks so much, Mackenzie, for all of the
thank
hard work you did. You're
It's
amazing.
Truly unbelievable. Like, Mackenzie, cornered us really early on. Was like, you guys suck at Facebook, right?
Yeah,
That
basically.
was essentially what she said. And it was just like, she's like, I can do this for you guys. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And she's been amazing.
And she's so much love to you, Mackenzie, and thanks for being part of our family, which you will always be. She will still probably post some things. We're not denying her access.
Yeah.
She's still with us. But thank you so much. If you guys have anything you'd like to write into us about, please feel free to do so. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page that Mackenzie has done so much for. Click the like button. It's facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while you're on Facebook, you can search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in. Also follow us on Twitter at TGIAtheist.
Well, and I don't know how many times I'm going to try to thank Mackenzie before I remember that we're not doing that anymore. But for at least one last time, thanks so much to Mackenzie for all of her hard work on the Facebook page. Thanks to Amy and Danny for being moderators in the Members Only Lounge.
And a big thanks goes out to the Red Rock Hot Club and to Gordon Johnston for the use of their music.
And a huge thanks to all of you for tuning in.
Bye-bye.